You see, this is story, it's wild as you think about it. Because Jacob, at around 77 years old, is kind of doing a cross country in a pretty wild time in history. And he stops for a sleep, and the scripture says that he grabs a rock for a pillow. Like, I don't know what's going on for Jacob at this moment. Maybe he had nothing on him, probably left in a hurry because Esau's after him. He grabs a rock, and it says that night falls, and so he lies down and lays his head on the rock, and admittedly, it's kind of comfortable. And the scripture says that he falls asleep, and in his dream, he sees a vision. He sees a stairway, if you like, from earth to heaven, and the angels, they're ascending and descending from it. What was a rock became a pillow, and the pillow became a pillar. The rock became a pillow, the pillow became a pillar as he anointed it with oil. And I wonder if I'm preaching to anyone this morning, because isn't it interesting that Jacob had to lay down and close his eyes to encounter God? Because it seemed like every time that Jacob was awake, he was asleep to the things of God. That he was always, deceiving and manipulating people. But it reminds me of that scripture that says, "Be still and know that I am God." Stop striving, Jacob, and just trust me. We should be able to relate, I know I can, with Jacob's story. And yet all we see is a patient God. All we see is a gracious God, a God whose promises to bless us, bless you and I, aren't dependent on our goodness, but rather it's dependent on his holiness. Listen to this quote by a theologian on this scripture. He said, in his own time, the Lord would come down. He's speaking about the Tower of Babel. They tried to lift that to heavens, but in his own time, God would come down and reveal that he was not far away, but close at hand. As Psalm 46 says, a very present help in times of trouble, until we come to see that we are all in the same desperate plight, unworthy to approach God and unable to save ourselves. Only then do we begin to marvel at the significance of Jacob's experience and join the praise of the God of Bethel. For the God who bothered with him is willing also to bother with us and to make us something that we could never otherwise have been. I wonder how you're looking at the rock in your life. Is it just a rock? Have you become comfortable in that place? Or is God beginning to turn it into a pillar in your life? We call those testimonies. You might be going, how? I've tried. I read my Bible, but I still lie sometimes. I come to church, but I still get offended. I try to do the right thing sometimes, but I know that I've got the wrong motives. Enter Jesus. He makes us something that we otherwise could not have been. Jesus is the ladder. The relationship between heaven and earth is Jesus. He is the way, the truth, and the life. When the light comes, the darkness doesn't go, nope, I'm holding on. No, it has to go, for the light is superior. Kingdom come here as it is in heaven. We read in scripture that if we endure hardship, we develop endurance, and endurance develops our character. Just because we have bad circumstances doesn't mean we don't worship a good God.